Hello, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. I'm Paul,
I'm Tina.
and we're bringing to you the Halloween episode, part 2, because you didn't get part 1. You'll get part 1 later, because it's maybe. That's just randomly me talking at Tina for like an hour and a half, because that's what I do.
And me randomly staring, like I don't know what to talk about.
Because me talking at Tina is what I do normally.
Pretty much.
I'm the man. That's what the man does. No.
Sure.
Whatever.
You keep telling yourself that.
But as always, Group Therapy Podcast is brought to you by RU Game, the best comic book video game, Magic, Toy Store, and all of Piqua, Ohio. 45356, 124 North Sunset. And as always, remember, follow us on Podbean, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Audrey Podcasts. Check out our patron. And I keep wanting to say Patreon because I don't know why. And like us on Group Therapy TV on Facebook. Maze had to come up and visit.
Yes, she did.
Our stupid cat. So, all right. Well,
even with the list, he still messed it up.
Yes, I did. I will that shit up in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. So we want to talk about some, given the fact we now have 57 minutes left of Halloween.
Okay, it's Halloween night. It is October 31st.
It is October 31st.
Technically, we got an extra hour tonight because we fall back.
Yep.
Okay.
Because, you know what? I'm going to run for president just so I can do away with daylight savings because that's some bullcrap.
Okay, I got to get the cat off the bar.
Yep. Cat has on the bar. For those who don't know, we have a bar in our basement, which is the studio / my hangout place is where I kind of...
This is supposed to be my corner, but it's not working out for me at all.
It's your corner from here to here. that much.
Yeah, it's still not.
It's mostly your corner, this little area.
You have 2 arcade things over there. You have your record player and all your records over here.
No, some of those are yours. Because they're...
5.
No, there's probably half.
Okay.
Because there's a shit ton of Aerosmith, and there's Stevie Nicks, and there's
Technically,
Journey.
They're not mine. Did I buy them?
I bought them for you.
Okay, whatever. They're still your records. And they're still in my spot. All I wanted was, literally, there is a whole room this way. A whole room. There's a 65-inch TV, and 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6 shelves, and actually no.
There's 7 6-foot shelves, and there's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I didn't count that one.
4.
And there's a futon and all of that over there, and that's all his. All I wanted was from this window, this way, and there's 3 feet past the window here, and that's just my corner, and he's taking it over.
Just a little bit. But I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to redo this.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Okay.
All right. Well, given the fact that we, like I said, now we've wasted. We're 54 minutes left now.
Whatever.
All right. We took Vince out today trick or treating.
Yes.
And because
we went during the day,
which is weird.
We've never went during the day. It was 1 to 3. But it was cool because it was actually on Halloween, on October 31st. We haven't done that in years.
Yeah, it was close to 60 degrees out.
Yeah, it was a nice day.
It was super nice, sunny, everything. Because last year, we got a block away from our house, and we got hit by snow.
Yeah,
because we live in. For those who don't know, we live in Ohio, and Ohio has bullshit weather.
Pretty much.
If you don't like the weather in Ohio, give it a minute.
It'll change.
But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean, Vince went out. He wanted to be a magician. We got him a magician costume. Hey, it worked.
He had a magic wand. He had a top hat, and he had a cape. He was happy.
He was a magician.
Yes.
I let him borrow one of my black button-down shirts. He was a magician.
It worked.
Tina was pseudo dressed up. I decided I bought freaking full set of Stormtrooper armor for the convention season this year, which didn't happen. I had bought an expensive ass set of Stormtrooper armor, and I'm like, I'm going to wear it to take Vince trick-or-treating today. And I did. And
I took a picture. I can put that in there.
yeah. But it was fun. I mean, Vince got out there. He got relatively, there was not a whole lot of people giving out candy, but those who were giving out candy
Like, you got a lot of full-size candy
got
bars.
a lot of candy. I mean, literally, I got a full-size candy bar because guy wanted to give me one because I was in a full Stormtrooper uniform.
Yeah.
So
all the little kids were like, Star Wars, Stormtrooper, Darth Vader.
yeah, I'm like, I have the Black Trooper armor. I have the Shadow Trooper armor.
You did very good at not correcting people.
Yes, I just waved and said, "Be part of the Empire." You know? Little kid came up to me dressed up like Master Chief, and I went, "The Empire would win in a fight," but I didn't. Because that's little kids. You don't say that to little kids.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, and the worst part about it is that relatively, this is the neighborhood where I trick or treated as a child. I mean, literally 2 blocks away from our house, 2 blocks, what, 2.5 blocks somewhere, right? Is the house I grew up in. So I spent from born to 14 here, and I trick or treated from, I don't know, when I was a wee one to, I think 14. I don't know if I trick or treated in high school. I think I stopped my 8th grade year. Not 100%, but that seems about right. But yeah, I mean, and it's funny because I'm walking down the same streets I trick or treated as a kid and everything, and I remember, and mind you, it is daylight. It's a little weird because I remember walking and it was dark, and you walk down the streets and it was like house, 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 house. Now it's like house.
I gotta admit, like, everything was decorated, though.
Yeah,
like, there were, like, every house was decorated.
Lots of decorations. Not a lot of people giving out candy. It was like every, 5th or 6th house was giving away candy.
Yeah, you had a couple blocks that a lot of the houses were.
The last block away was giving away like every other house, if not like every 3rd house was giving.
We gave away candy and comic books and glow sticks and all that at our house. So
and the worst
we take our kid trick or treating. We always make sure candy gets passed out.
Yeah, because even when our other kids were younger, I mean, we had our older boys hanging out at the house handing out candy last year and the year before when we took Vince out.
We've done the put the bowl on the porch.
Yeah. I've literally, that was one of the things I always wanted to do when I got my own place. Literally, I was always there giving out candy.
Even when we didn't have kids, we passed out candy.
Oh yeah, we always passed out candy. From day one. First apartment, first Halloween, I stood at the top of the stairs at that house on North Street.
Not too far away from where we live now.
Not far from where I live now.
About 4 blocks or so. And
I put the bowl of candy at the bottom of the steps. And I had a big TV and I had a big stereo system and stuff because, I was a single guy. Well, not a single guy, but, I was
at that point, you were single.
Yeah.
We were off again.
We were on again, off again at that point. But I had the stereo cranked and I had Texas Chainsaw Massacre playing. So you had the people screaming and stuff because I had going through the stereo and the speakers. I had everything opened up. And I stood at the top of the stairs with the chainsaw and, with an apron and stuff on. And I had the bowl of candy at the bottom. And you would watch little kids. Like, I had a sign that said, take one. The little kids would walk up, and they'd go to reach over to get the piece of candy, and they'd look up, and I'm staring at them from the top of the stairs, going, ding, 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 with the chainsaw, and they just like, and they would, occasionally you get the kid, take the candy. I always like the parents would be like, oh, just go up there and get the piece of candy. It's nothing. And they'd walk up, and they'd go, and they'd look up, and I'm standing at the top of the stairs, staring down at them, and they're like, hey, okay, here's some candy, and then just take off because there was like all that bravado disappeared like immediately.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was the guy that was standing there in full costume, and he was hardly moving, and people kept trying to walk up and figure out if it was a guy and standing there, and the one guy was like, "Look, his hands are moving. It's a person," and I'm just waiting for him to like scare one of the kids, but he didn't. He held he just stood there.
He held his position.
Yeah.
But no, it was fun. I mean, like I said, it was fun taking him out. Last year he got a lot of candy too, but last year the weather was horrible. Like I said, it was snowing and cold. And the worst part about it, I felt bad because you and Vince are walking and you're in costumes. I'm in that Godzilla costume. I had one of them inflatable. I still have my giant inflatable Godzilla costume. It's like wearing a tent, and I'm warm because it blocks all the wind. My hands were cold because that was the only thing sticking out of the costume. But everybody was giving out candy then because everybody was just like, here, and they were just throwing candy in his bucket. I remember the one guy goes, here, you need candy too, and started handing me candy, and I'm like, I'm okay. And then I didn't want any candy this time until the guy goes, here, have a full-size Reese cup. And I'm like, okay, I'll take the Reese cup.
Yeah.
I don't eat much candy, but I will not turn down a full-size Reese cup. No. I won't turn down Reese cup. They're damn delicious. But except for the thin ones or the overly fat ones. Because the ratio to chocolate...
because you don't like anything that's different anyway.
Yeah, no. The ratio to chocolate to peanut butter is off on them big ones or the skinny ones. That's not right. That's like the perfect Reese thing is the Christmas trees or the pumpkins. The
pumpkins are great.
The ratio is almost perfect on those.
Yeah, the pumpkins are great.
And I do have OCDs. I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like change.
A little bit.
But it's
that's probably what weirded you out so much about going trick-or-treating during the day.
Oh,
even though it's always daylight when we start.
When it's daylight when you start, but it's dusk. It's dusky. There's a broad sun over you day and time.
It was 1 o'clock. That was weird.
And
it was fun. I liked it. I actually liked the fact that it was on Halloween.
Oh yeah,
that was nice.
I haven't been trick-or-treating on Halloween, I don't think ever. And if I did, it wasn't in Piqua.
Do you feel like when we were kids it was longer? It wasn't just 2 hours?
I think it was 3 hours when I was a kid.
At least.
Well, the thing was
I remember being out longer. And I don't know because I didn't grow up here.
See,
I don't know if maybe it was in different places.
See, for me, it was... We would leave my house. We'd all meet here, and, like I said, and we'd wander these neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. And we would wander until, I think there was a set time, but nobody stopped. Mm-hmm. It was when lights stopped, when porch lights started, and people started going.
People would pass out candy until they ran out.
Yeah, and
and then they'd turn their porch light off.
You would wander around neighborhoods until porch lights started coming on off. And then you would make your way back home, and you would try to hit ones that maybe you missed, or go back and hit ones you already hit, just because you wanted more
by that time.
See, or you found out, like I did when I was younger, not far from here, actually, a block over and over, there were like 3 rich, what we called them rich people. I don't know. They could have just been well off. But they would always, every year, they would compete. So, like, one year they all gave out full-size candy bars. Then the following year, like, the one gave away quarters, so the other one gave away 50-cent pieces. And then the one year it was awesome because literally all we kept doing was running back to my house to change costumes because we would go because they were giving 50 cents, dollar coins, and $2 bills. So literally I made like $100 that night.
Of course you did.
I only went to 3 houses and I ran back and forth to my house like 20 times, but I made money.
Of course you did.
And I know it's horrible, but I was like 11, 12 years old. It was when I was first starting to be able to really kind of go out with my buddies. Mm-hmm. And see, that's what's weird is, we're out with Vince and, I remember, being, and there was like little kids just out by themselves, because everybody just trick-or-treating, and you're like, the one thing
can't do that now.
No, there's no way. The one thing I thought was like weirdly funny was, at least in our neck of the woods, the police ride around on Halloween and hand out full-size candy bars, and I didn't see one cop. I didn't see one cop all day. I mean, it was weird. I mean, it was like, whatever, but it was kind of...
But we are typically on the other side of town. This is the first time that we have lived on this side of town and went trick-or-treating over here, because I feel like we'd always hit the fire station, and that's where we would, that side of town was where we would always see the police, was when we lived over on the other side of town.
You know, we've done with the boys, the Brandon and Joe over here, because we did.
We'd come up to Broadway though. We wouldn't really come into this neighborhood.
No, we'd go over by the park.
Over by the park, like once or twice, but typically we'd go over to Broadway.
But no matter where we would go, we would always see a cop, because
and it was almost always on the other side of town.
But I know it's just weird that we didn't see a cop and hand out candy, but.
We just didn't run into them.
No, it's whatever. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a little weird. Like I said, it's not even a little weird. It's a lot weird trick or treating at like 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We had a few people stop at the shop. Mark told me they got some comics there. I just let them go through to the 50-cent boxes, and kids were happy. Just hey, it's free comic books, man.
Yep.
But And this is the best one. So the other day, I'm sitting there at the shop, and every once in a while, I just let old commercials run in the background. And it had the commercial for like Woolworth's Halloween headquarters.
That's funny.
And they're like, buy a bag of candy for $1.88, the special 5-pound bag. And they're like giant bags. And the funny part, you could return them. If you didn't have enough trick-or-treaters, you could take the candy back and get your money back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was that shit.
Was like a thing back in the day.
That shit would never happen.
Like, we talked about Halloween costumes, just costumes in general, and how that's changed.
Oh yeah, like the plastic vinyl costumes with the masks that with the rubber band, the face mask and stuff like that. And literally, I think I still have like 2 of those. I think I still have like I might still have like a C-3PO one, and I think I might have a G.I. Joe one floating around still. I'm not 100% because I think I might have sold them because they were just awkward and just didn't really fit in with my collection of stuff. But but no, those were. I remember that was like, you always had the kids who had the awesome homemade costumes that their parents made them.
Oh, like what I made my kids?
Yeah, like the shark that Brandon had, and the hell, even Vince when he went as George, he had the little monkey costume and the hat.
Yeah, because I had to improvise.
Yeah,
on that one.
Couldn't find a George mask, but we found a hat that looked kind of like George.
Joe did the Kingdom Hearts.
Yep, did Joe as Sora from Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, I made him the outfit, and we made him the
made him the Keyblade.
Keyblade, and all that.
Yep.
Because we're good parents.
Yeah. But no, you had the one parents who just like my parents just bought me costumes. I had like I remember Yoda when I was little. I'm sure there was other Star Wars ones because that was kind of my thing when I was a kid. I think the last.
I had poor kids costumes a few times.
I had cobbled together costumes. Like I had a weird monster alien mask thing, and then like the following year I went and had an old chainsaw and stuff, so I flipped the mask around because it had like a melted face on the one side, and so it looked it looked kind of like a Leatherface mask, so I made it a Leatherface mask for one Halloween. I think literally the last Halloween, I think I built a Ghostbusters backpack. I took a backpack, and I had built like what looked like ghost traps. I had the wand, and I had built it so there was a flashlight inside of it, so when you turn it on, it shined light out of a tube, and all this cool stuff. And of course, as soon as I went to go trick or treating, it started falling apart. And I think when it came down to it, I just threw on some black sweatpants and a black sweatshirt and threw on a mask, and it was like a ninja or some shit like that. But I've done really cool ones. Like I had a really cool werewolf costume, and even those masks, like the rubber masks with the those even changed a lot.
Oh yeah.
They tend to be like just like a rubber with there's no like. It's like.
See, you were a boy. Your costumes were way different.
Oh yeah, my costumes were like. I went like army guy, so I had like full fatigues and stuff, and I was a werewolf.
I was a witch, or I was a punk rocker, like silly crap like that.
I remember going as Ash from Evil Dead before anybody who knew who Ash from Evil Dead was. When me and you first, we weren't together.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I had the chainsaw for a hand that worked.
Was that the first Halloween we were?
It might have been the second.
Maybe second.
That was when we had our big Halloween party.
Yeah, that's right.
I had the shredded shirt. I had the straps. I had the shotgun, and I had the chainsaw. And it was funny because I had to sit there because the sheriff showed up because of Corky. And then I had to like take my chainsaw hand off and like it's like, I don't have a weapon. It's not it's a chainsaw, but I don't have a blade on it. And explain to a sheriff that this is not a real it is a real chainsaw, but not a working chainsaw.
Yeah.
It was a working chainsaw, but it didn't cut.
See, if it wasn't for coronavirus, would have had a Halloween party tonight.
Yeah, we were every plan. We were like, oh man, this is not going to be going into Halloween.
COVID,
and it ruined everything.
Ruined everything. I mean, yeah, we recently moved into a new house. We have the space for it. We have a bar in our basement. You know, we have a fire pit outside. We have a pretty decent setup, and we were excited about the potential of having a Halloween party again because we haven't done that in years.
Well, the thing was, we didn't even know up until recently because there was still like rumors that they were going to cancel Halloween.
Yeah.
I was actually at my shop talking to my neighbors in our little strip mall area right there and going, hey, if they ban Halloween, I was like, we're going to have a trunk or treat. And they're like, hell yeah. And luckily we didn't have to, and everybody was kind of happy. But you know, we had substitute plans. But the fact is we had planned on doing something really kind of cool. Well, that's like we didn't go to any haunted houses this year.
Yeah.
Last year we went to
a ton.
Yeah, we took Bone with us everywhere we went. And Bone's like, you having fun yet, Bone? Yep.
Well, we went to the Haunted Caves, which is fantastic.
Yep.
Haunted Caves are fun, except for the walk up when you're done.
And the walk down kind of sucked too because you're kind of like.
Yeah, but the walk up was terrible.
Oh, it burns your calves.
It hurts.
You're working an incline like that.
I had to sit down when we got back to the top because.
That was fun. That was the first
I'm
one.
Chunky, so.
That was the first thing we did.
Not easy.
We went to the one on Valley Street. Then we did two in Springfield, one on Valley Street, and then the Caves.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did 4 that last year, and it was fun. But the thing is, though, is people are like, I'm going to do a bunch of them in one night. You're not doing a bunch of them in one night.
No.
You're doing one.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you're doing.
Because the lines are horrendous, or were last year. I mean, like. It was like that's what everybody was doing. Everybody was going to haunted houses last year.
Oh yeah, it was
a big thing, and it was fun.
Well, the thing is,
I recommend it.
And I'm gonna put this out here because this is not to make any money for any of the other haunted houses or anything. Pay that extra like $5 to $10, get that VIP pass, get your ass up front, and get in there quick. Some places. The one on Valley Street, if you paid for the VIP, you got all the way to the front, and you got a whole nother part of the haunted area.
Yeah, it was neat.
And
yeah, it wasn't like a whole lot more. I mean, if you're willing to, but you don't want everybody to do that.
No. But the thing is that was like the one in Springfield. One of the ones in Springfield, you paid the extra money, you got a glow-in-the-dark necklace.
Oh, that was the touch pass.
The touch pass.
Because they would touch you.
Yeah, they could like abduct you and pull you. And I'm sitting there and I can't.
No, they wouldn't like pull you back.
No.
But
the one guy grabbed me and dragged me and threw me in a chair.
Oh yeah.
And wouldn't let me up while he was going to try to chase you with the chainsaw. And my problem is that I cannot help but laugh.
Yeah.
I will laugh from the moment I walk into a haunted house to the moment I walk out of a haunted house.
Well, I do too. So
and it's,
you have two of us giggling.
And I'm like,
and then Bone just all straight.
Bone's just like, yep, having fun. I love Bone. But well, it's like the one that I kept going, damn it, he got me. I can't believe somebody actually got me because I'm one of the ones that it takes a lot to actually scare me. You can do some jump scares, like, if I'm literally just not paying attention.
The one guy that caught you off guard.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there because you're in a room and they shoot the laser across the room and they have the fog and it's like chest deep. And I'm walking, I'm like, I know there's somebody like right here. And I'm like walking and I keep looking and I'm looking and I know there's somebody there. I know they're there. And then the guy jumps and grabs me. And I'm like, I knew you were there. You got me. And he's like, yeah, I got you. I'm like, yeah, you did. God dang it. Walks off. And it's like, it's one of the ones where you're like, okay. The one that the haunted cave, the part, it wasn't scary as in like, scary. Mm-hmm. It was scary because you can't see anything without walking across that bridge.
Oh, yeah.
In the dark. Because,
it was unnerving.
Yeah. Okay. The only thing you have is, we paid the extra, $2 for the glow-in-the-dark necklaces?
Yeah.
To go through that one. And that's another thing.
If you go through the haunted cave, get the glow-in-the-dark necklaces.
Yes. Because you can't use your phone, you can't shine a light or whatever because they'll boot you out.
They give you can pay $2 to get a glow stick, and the glow stick helps.
Yeah, because I'm literally walking with 2 glow necklaces, walking through trying to stay.
And we're all holding hands.
And we're on a bridge that's maybe 3 foot wide.
If that.
And, you're not going to... I mean, I guess you could fall off, but it'd be hard. But they've literally put trees in there, too. So you're walking on a bridge, and there's trees that you got to, kind of push your way through. There's no jump scares. There's nothing like that. I don't even know if this is in there, because they rearrange stuff every year. But it's one of them ones where you're like, I'm going to fall off. I'm going to fall off into dirty cave water. And then I'll stink and the way back... That's the scary part, really, isn't it? Just dirty cave water, because you don't know what's in that.
It really is.
Dirty cave water.
That'd be gross.
Yeah. But, man, we had a blast last year. We had all the plans to go this year. We were thinking about going, 2 weeks ago? And it was like, I don't know. I couldn't, we've done a lot of stuff during COVID. We've gone to movies. We go eat and stuff like that. I just don't. That's a lot of people in a smashed in room. I just, I passed on it this year. Yeah. We'll do it next year. We'll double up.
I mean, that's the thing. I deal with coronavirus and COVID regularly.
Oh, yeah.
I have to hear about it. I have to deal with it. If we're in a doctor's office, it's in your face. So, I try to get out and actually do things.
Yeah, and
get out of the house, wear a freaking mask. It's whatever, to be able to go do things. I mean, but there are certain things that I'm still wary about.
I want to go to a concert so bad, but I wouldn't go to a concert right now. There's no way. But no, next year we're going to go to haunted houses. As soon as they start having them in September, we're going to have them. We're going to go until we can't go again, or unless it's really fucking cold and rainy. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to stand outside in the rain.
No.
That sucks. Because that was what we were worried about. The one we went to the haunted cave because it could have rained that night, and it didn't rain at all that night, but poured down rain the night after.
Yeah.
And literally, you're going underground, horrendously underground.
Yeah, and they have all these carpets and stuff to walk on, because if you didn't have that, you just slide.
You're just gonna slide your ass down to the bottom. But it's
Which could be fun too.
Wee. Boom, 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 boom. Rocky ass shit going on. No, but man, I'm all pumped to go back to go. I think we should get
Everybody wants to go back to normal.
Yeah, we get a redo.
Yeah.
When it starts over, it's not 2021. It's going to be 2020 again. We're just going to ignore everything that happened this year.
Yeah. And
it's going to be a reboot. It's going to be
Well, that's what's supposed to happen tonight. It's Halloween. It's full moon. It's daylight savings. We're setting the clock back. I mean, that should give us a reset, right?
We're going to reset. Reset everything. Start all over again. We're gonna call it 2022 Electric Boogaloo. It's always Electric Boogaloo.
Ongoing.
Okay. No, I'm like I said, I'm a big fan of going to haunted houses. We didn't go for a few years, then we started going, hitting them here and there. Last year we hit a lot. We just were like, screw us, we're going.
Yeah, I'm glad we did that too.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
And like I said, we had plans this year, but that all fell through, and now we're just.
And like I said, all the things that we would have been doing, but I guess we got to look at it this way. Next year, hopefully things are more back to normal. We're going to do more because we're going to be like...
We're going to appreciate the hell out of it more. And we're going to be like, you're going to get it because you never know what next year's going to bring.
Exactly.
You've got to get all of it in.
Yeah. I mean, don't slow down.
Yeah.
Live your life.
And
if 2020 has taught us anything...
Live your life to the fullest.
Don't take it for granted.
Don't take shit for granted, no. But... Now I get over here and look at my note. Look at the notes that we wrote down. All right, Halloween costume, haunted houses. Boom.
Well, we've talked about haunted places.
Haunted places. Let's talk about real haunted places that real haunted places we've been. Places that.
He's a skeptic, by the way.
I am the skeptic. I am the skeptical skeptic. So I have never seen anything. I am
a skeptical believer.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Skeptical believer. You're not so, what is it? You're open-minded that your brain falls out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, because I know people personally.
Common sense goes a long way.
You know, or I've met people personally who, when it comes to like wanting to go, because we went, I don't know, this has been a bunch of years back. We went ghost hunting for a few falls.
Mm-hmm.
And we would ghost hunt from like September into October until it started getting too cold to really ghost hunt. Because one is that most places want to charge you to ghost hunt in their building, which is, you know, I think if you're paying to go ghost hunting, you're going to want to find something because you just spent money to go ghost hunting. So you're going to look at every little thing that happened and be like, yeah, it's proof. And you're like, no, it's fucking orbs. Orbs are dust or how was it? Moisture in the air. It's rain. It's stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, orbs are, I don't even know why, like, that's what kills me about watching any of like the stuff on the Travel Channel now, like Ghost Adventures and shit like that. They're like, oh, we spotted orbs. Fucking everybody spots orbs, dude. They're not ghosts. They're literally dirt and debris in the air.
Or bugs.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of bugs, man.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, have we had weird shit happen? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of explain some of it away to my camcorder was getting ready to go kaput, which it did shortly after all the events happened. But we couldn't replicate the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. For those who don't know, and if we do put up the other one, we don't live far from a little village of Lockington. It's in Shelby County. It's not far from here. There was of course, every town had a covered bridge. Every town's covered bridge was a crybaby bridge.
Mm-hmm. Baby got thrown. There was a car accident.
Yeah,
somebody got mad and threw the baby off the bridge. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. There's 1,000 different stories and 1,000 different crybaby bridges. Well, this one, I debunked the whining noise when I was a kid. Because actually, when I was younger, I didn't live too far away from it. I lived here in Piqua until I was 14, and I moved to Sydney. Well, I didn't live in Sydney. I lived out in the country, and I lived maybe 2 miles away from the Lockington Bridge. And so we went, and one night we snuck down. We went down underneath the bridge, and we would wait for cars to roll over it. And you would hear it, and what it was the wood pushing up against itself and it would make a whining noise when it would rub. And it would make this weird, like, noise as cars went across it. And I'm like, oh, yep, that's evidently because, people were like, oh, listen to this. And I'm like, oh, that's what it is. We figured it out. But then like a year or so later, it burnt to the ground. It melted. It got so hot it melted the I-beams. Well, it didn't melt it. It warped the I-beams, and the metal was laying in the riverbed for the longest time. Then I don't know how many years ago they came in and bulldozed all that away, took the iron away, and rebuilt a new bridge across there. But it wasn't a covered bridge; it was just a regular old bridge. But you would go, and we went down there one night, and we walked down we parked. We walked down into the riverbed because it was really shallow. But at one point they had a big rock when the bridge was gone that had spray painted "Danger," and it was like with the reflective yellow paint and the red paint and stuff. Well, when they removed everything, they just bulldozed all that down into the riverbed. So there's this big rock just sitting there that says Dan at this point. So we went down there. We got to it. It's like, hey, look, it's the Dan rock. And my camcorder started acting up. I was still getting audio, but the picture went weird. It started getting like these fluctuating colors and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, my camera just screwed up. And I walked maybe a minute worth of footage, if that, and all of a sudden it writes itself. So we continued to film that night. We caught a couple things that we thought was suspicious, some movement and some awkward, I saw this thing like shoot across the river, and I'm like, well, what was that? It was big and white. And I'm like, okay. So we took all of our footage, took it back to the house. I'm running the camera through the big screen TV, and I'm watching it basically frame by frame. And I figured out what the big white thing was. It was a big old owl. So I'm sitting there, and while I'm doing this, Tina's got the other footage with the other camera that was mine. It got the weird footage. And she's sitting there, and she goes, hey, come here. And that's when you had me come over, and you had pulled up this picture, and you had cleaned it up, and
yeah, it looked like fire.
Yeah, it looked like fire. It was
after you said, hey, there's the Dan Rock, watch out for the Dan Rock, and then the footage it went weird. Like, the sound was completely fine. It was red and orange and yellow, and it literally looked like flames. Almost cartoony. I mean, it wasn't like looking like everything was on fire, but it was very strange.
Yeah, and it was, it was like we found that, and the funny part about it was we found it. So the following weekend, we're like, okay, we're going to try to replicate this. Maybe there's something in the riverbed, because there was big I-beams. There was a lot of metal. We're like, it's
something that interfered.
Something interfered or whatever. So we went back down the following weekend. We went down in. We're recording everything. We got some more movement, and couldn't get the camera to do the same thing if I tried. I messed with the focus. I with everything. Tried to run the camera in, trying to run the camera out. I kept trying to hit the light and the night vision and stuff like that, trying to get everything and it wouldn't work. Funny note to that was when we were sitting there, and then pretty soon we saw a sheriff pull up, and I'm stepping out of the river. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, and I put my camera down, and they're like, what you guys out here doing? And I'm like, we're ghost hunting. And the cop just stands there for a minute, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna give us a ticket, or he's gonna arrest us or something like that. And he's like, "Did you see anything?" And I'm like, well, we got some anomalous footage last week, so we came back to see if we could get the same footage this week, and we couldn't and stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's cool, you know. And he was really cool.
He was really nice, but he had to run us off.
But he had to run us off.
He had to do his job.
He had to do his job. So we had to vacate because people called the cops because there were lights and stuff and people running around on the bridge. Even though we weren't running around on the bridge, we were under the bridge. But it was
people thought it was teenagers.
Yeah, not
mischief.
Not adults out trying to ghost hunt because we're weird.
Mm-hmm. It's okay though.
But the only thing we spotted that night was another thing, but it ended up being a deer. I went back to the footage. Never could get the footage to do that again. We couldn't replicate anything. But I also don't put it past just my camera was starting to give up the ghost because, like I said, it died less than a month later. So, it is what it is. It's just it's something spooky, and so. But no, we went. We went to a lot of places because, like I said, we had to be outside places, inside places.
Well, it's hard to when you have, especially buildings that have old buildings that have a lot of electrical. They've proven, and even ghost hunters had talked about how that will give you like a weird feeling in your head, like the electricity being really intense will make people just have weird reactions to it. So when you're inside, especially old buildings that have all the power on, it's really hard to say if that's something actually supernatural or if it's just the weird electric.
Well, when you can run an EMF meter down to the floor and there's nothing, and then right when the wiring, where you would get to where like you see where the outlet, the thing, and it's like,
yeah,
and it's because all the electrical is in, and it's all at head level.
Yeah.
So
and it can mess with you. It can mess with your the way your head feels.
It's the same reason that people they don't want people living under like the big power lines.
Yeah.
It's because it screws with you.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we've got we went to Lockington Dam. We got a lot of voices, but that could have just been like just legitimately people in the woods fucking with other people in the woods. Yeah. We got the see, the funny part about it is that we still have some of this footage. Some of it has been lost because, like I said, we lost some stuff when we lost the digital camera. Mm-hmm. But we do have some of it still to this day. It's packed away.
I have no idea where it is right now.
I think I kind of know where. I know where the videotapes are. The actual the high eights and the stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The digital stuff I'm not 100% anymore because the stuff we had that computer is long gone.
Oh yeah.
And we got the footage of where we were at the one cemetery and we were all taking pictures and everything, and it looked like there was a guy standing behind a tombstone.
Yeah, that was in Sydney.
Yeah,
that's the Wesley Chapel Cemetery.
Yeah,
it's on off of Brown Road.
Yeah,
in Sydney.
It's supposedly where George Washington's bodyguard's buried.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's true. I think that's one of them bullshit stories.
Well, the weird stuff, I had no idea that I was looking up things yesterday and had no idea that there was a sanitarium in Bradford, Ohio.
But only for 15,
a minute.
Yeah, for from 1920 to 1935.
That area is supposed to be haunted. I want to figure out where that was. And I can't find a lot of information about it.
Well, it's legit lasted, 15 years?
And it burned down.
Yeah, so it probably doesn't have a whole lot of...
But, there's got to be records.
Yeah.
And, the internet is the internet, but I couldn't find a lot of information on it. But I had no idea. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing with, small town Bradford.
Yeah, but it makes sense. No offense against people who live in Bradford. I kid.
All the places though that we've gone to or been to that's supposedly haunted or whatever.
Okay. Like I said, this true story. I worked at a hotel here in Piqua. I can say the name and then I found out that there's I'll tell you some more stuff here in a second. I want to say it was like 2002. I worked at what was then was it Knights Inn at that time?
Was it the Knights Inn?
I don't know if it was still a Hojo at that time or if it was the Knights Inn yet. Well, it was a Hojo, then became a Knights Inn, now it's a Red Roof Inn. But when I worked there, one day I heard some noises and stuff, but you'll always hear noises and stuff because you hear people coming and going all hours of the night. I worked at that point, I worked third shift. I worked the 11 to 7 shift. And we went and, pretty much a regular night. I left. I got home. It was like I said, I worked third shift, so I got home at like 7:30 in the morning. Laid down to go to sleep. Pretty soon.
Yeah, my dad called me. My dad called me and was like, did Paul find the body? I was like, what are you talking about? Because I had no idea what was going on. He was like, it's on the news. There was a body found at the hotel. I knew it wasn't Paul because they said he was wearing a white t-shirt and cowboy boots. And I knew Paul don't wear white t-shirts and cowboy boots.
No.
But was he the one that found him? And I'm like, he didn't say anything when he came home. So I went and woke him up.
No,
was like, my dad wants to know if you found the body.
Not gonna lie. If I found a dead body, everybody I know would know. I'd be like, I found a dead guy, But no, I worked there and there was just noise. But evidently a guy was beaten real bad in one of the rooms and dragged outside to die. I don't know the whole story because one of the rumor was it was a drug deal gone bad, whatever. But the guy turned himself in that did it because he didn't know he killed the guy. He thought they just beat the shit out of him and left him for dead, or not left him outside just to sleep it off or whatever. But when I worked there, after that, we had, because this happened late September, early October. Are you trying to look it all up?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. You can keep going.
Okay. But we had people trying to rent out the room. People wanted to, because I could have rented that room out for whatever I asked. I could have been like, yeah, I'll rent that room out to you for $5,000, and somebody probably would have paid me $5,000 because they wanted it for Halloween night. They wanted the room a guy died in. I'm like, well, he didn't really die in that room, but okay. And people did not want to stay. Either had people who wanted to stay in that room or people who wanted nothing to do with that room whatsoever. There was, we just stopped telling people what room it is. To this day, I couldn't tell you what the actual room number was anymore.
You took me to it.
Yeah, I took it to you. I showed it to you before after it was released, and they had to go in and clean it. But yeah, it was weird knowing that somebody was killed while I was at work. You're sitting down there doing your job, sitting at the front desk at a hotel, working by yourself late hours at night. And next thing you know, somebody gets killed. It's literally feet away.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was upstairs and down the one hallway, but I wouldn't say it was haunted because, like I said, I don't think the guy knew, but people wanted it. People wanted to try to be in there so they could do they could do a seance and all this stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, the police haven't released that room. You're not getting that room. You're not getting that room. But yeah, it is that was a little weird. And like I said, you find out all these places that are haunted or weird shit has happened. That's the we had the house. We lived next door to at the corner of Covington and College.
Mm-hmm.
The house, we lived there for just shy of a year. I think it was up there. I think I just saw it.
Oh, talking about swingers group.
Oh, all right.
No. There's.
Okay. But no, we lived next to this house in 11 months, because like I say, we're there just shy of a year. Like four groups of people lived in that house, but it was empty most of the time because somebody, I don't know if they killed themselves in there or they died in there, but they were literally there for a while the house was, no one knew they were dead. It didn't, I'd been in it. I didn't feel nothing. I didn't think it was haunted, but the guy goes, I can't keep people renting this place. He goes, I have to go in here. He goes, I got to completely gut the house and start all over again to make it look completely different than what it did when the person died here. But no. And the thing is I don't even know if people live there now. It always looks empty.
Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't really paid attention.
I'm not going to give the house away. I'm not going to give the address away because I think that's kind of fucked up. But no, you would literally go in there. And
we went inside. I mean, the house was fine. But somebody had died in the house. I don't know if the guy committed suicide, but I do know that he was in the house a while before anybody discovered him. That was the problem with it. I mean, a dead body being in a house and decomposing, it left a smell. It left, this house had to be pretty much gutted.
Yeah.
And
well, I know we would sit there and I would go, and I'd greet people. I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
We're your neighbor, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh yeah. And I never said nothing at the, I don't know if you have to tell anybody, hey, the guy died here and he sat here for a while.
I don't think you have to disclose that.
But, a few weeks later, they would be gone. House would sit empty for a month or so. Then a new group of people would move in. I'd greet them.
Like you were saying, we lived there for right under a year, and we seen several people moving out, and the place was empty way more than there was somebody in it.
Well, let's put it this way. 4 people lived there, and I guarantee it was empty at least 6 months total. And the thing is that there was one time that people just left. I remember the guy dragging their shit out to the curb to throw it away. Because the people just got, I'm like, okay,
But we don't know. We never talked to anybody to see if something
was
going
on. No, nobody.
Or...
They literally just be there, and then I'd come home from work one day, and like all their shit would be gone. There would be an empty house next door.
Yeah.
I worked a lot of hours at that point in time, but you would just, they'd be there and then they wouldn't. It is what it is, but
well, the house we moved next to that, we were talking about that, how when Vince was little, and I mean, I'm talking about like 1-2 years old, he'd sit at the bottom of the stairs and look up the steps and start whispering. And then when you would ask him who he was talking to, he would shush you. And it was really creepy. And then the dogs wouldn't go upstairs, but they would sit at the bottom of the steps and stare up.
Or sometimes growl.
Yeah, every now and then.
But
our bedroom was upstairs. I never felt uncomfortable there. I never felt like out of sorts or anything like that. Like, it never bothered me. But weird stuff did happen in that house. And then, the people that moved in after us were like, thanks for the haunted house. And I'm like, yeah, they won't bother you.
Weird stuff would happen, but I also had 3 teenage boys at the time. Well, not. Yeah.
Yeah, but stuff would happen when they weren't actually there, too.
Yeah. But you'd also go, I just rack it up to having kids in the house.
He blows everything off.
I do. This is what way things work. No, it's that house. I never felt like there was anything in the house. I don't know. I also, we had bats real bad in that house, so I just assumed that's what the dogs. Nothing like getting a phone call at work. There's a bat in the house.
A very panicked me, trying to figure out how to get it out.
I was like, I don't know what you want me to do about it because I can't leave work.
Well, I couldn't leave our baby in his crib.
That's why you took him downstairs and you locked the door with
And I had all the kids downstairs because I was afraid that one of us was going to get bit by a bat.
And I would go home and...
Hey, I did get the bat out of the house the one time. By myself.
Yeah. But I
was upstairs with a broom and a box.
Yeah, I just would throw a blanket over them.
Yeah, I tried.
And then take them outside, shake them out, and then I'd always wear gloves and grab them and like throw them up in the air, and then they'd fly away. See, I don't know what that was about, man. I was the go-to guy to get rid of bats. When I worked at Protomold, hey, we need to get rid of it. I was like, all right, gotta get rid of bats. And everybody's like, why are you wearing gloves? I'm like, look at him, he's biting the shit out of the glove. I'm like, I don't want to be bit.
Yeah.
I like bats. They're kind of cool. I don't want to hurt them, but...
I never wanted to hurt them, even though I had to knock the one down with a broom.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I smacked one.
It flew away, though. I mean, it was okay. I didn't hit it hard. Made sure it was with the bristles.
Yeah.
I just had to get it in the box.
But I kind of assumed that we had probably bats in the attic, or we had bats that were in...
No, we definitely, because we had the furnace guys had to clean out the furnace one time because there were birds in the furnace. Yep. That was terrible.
And that's what I think it is that we had a lot of stuff going on, and that's why the dogs would growl, because they knew there were animals upstairs, and
yeah.
So
okay,
that's
you
it.
justify it.
I'll justify it because
you justify it to yourself that way.
Okay,
Mister, I don't believe in anything.
Well, that's like okay. We had a discussion yesterday about night terrors and stuff like that, because Brandon had night terrors and stuff like that, and I told you that I had suffered. One night I had sleep paralysis. I'm sure I had sleep paralysis before, but I never had what they call old hag syndrome. And I've seen the old hag. And, I can still to this day. And I mean, this is I was like, I don't know, 11? Maybe I was a little kid still living over here. So I hadn't, my parents were separated. So I knew it was past that point. So, and I remember being there, like, trying to yell and trying to move, and I couldn't move. And then I found out, like, relatively recently that, what old hag syndrome and sleep paralysis was.
Yeah.
And it is kind of unsettling, because you're like, your brain is still asleep. You're still dreaming, but you're awake. And your body doesn't want to move because it keeps you from, wailing and flipping around when you're...
Maybe that's why I don't get that, because I move.
Yeah, you move all the time.
Like, I don't not move because I try to fight you.
Yeah. She'll be like... And I'll come up, what? And you're like... like, what? Oh, damn it, you're asleep. Dang it. Then I gotta try to fight and get back to sleep. So...
He claims I beat him up.
No, you usually just, like, one hit, and you're like... but no...
You've told me I've, like,
set
up and hit you.
You have hit me before.
You've rolled me out of bed. You were really bad when we lived our first apartment, because there was one night that I woke up and I opened my eyes and your hand was right here, and as soon as I opened my eyes, you pushed me off of the bed onto the floor, and then asked me what I was doing on the floor.
Well, when you're, I mean, pretty much, yeah, we spent time together here and there.
Yeah,
but we never, it was never long term.
Getting used to sharing a bed.
Sharing a bed, yeah.
Well, getting used to sharing a bed again after you worked third shift for so long.
Oh yeah, that's rough. And the thing is, though, I
was used to being able to spread out and take up the whole bed, and then I had to share a bed again, and that
sucked.
Well,
you still do, because I don't go to bed till late.
Yeah.
And so you spread out, and then I get up early, and then...
But then you get in bed, and then my space goes from this much to, like, this much.
Yeah, well,
it sucks.
We got... Vincent, who will just come in randomly and lay down with us in the middle of the bed, and he'll take up most of it. You're like, on the edge, you're on the edge, and I'm like, Vince, dang it, kid, go in your own room. Go to bed. Go sleep in your own bed, bud. Daddy and mommy went in their own room. But, you know, like I said, was you know,
back to sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis.
Old hag syndrome.
Old hag syndrome is like up until like relatively within like the last 5 years. I watched a couple documentaries on it, and I read up on it, and I'm like, oh, well, that explains Brandon's night terrors when
his eyes would be wide open and he would just be screaming.
Yeah, but except for he'd move. Mm-hmm. And you'd like, come on, bud.
Oh, he'd sit straight up and be like rigid.
Mm-hmm. And you'd have to like wake him up kind of slowly and go, come on, it's okay. And then he'd be like, what? And he'd start coming out of it, and he'd go back to sleep. And then you would hear him, ah.
Yeah.
But like I said, I had one episode of the full blown old hag syndrome where I seen the hag like here, like, and I could describe it to the whole thing, but it's just one of the things that stuck with me. But, you know, for me, it was like, was that? And then I'm like, oh, no, it's just a fucking common thing that happens to people.
Or it's just that they justify it to themselves. Because they're in denial that something...
Denial is a river in
out
Egypt.
Of the way has happened to them. And they don't want to admit...
Your brain
because they're skeptics.
Your brain is weird. Your brain is will it's like matrixing and stuff like it, where you see images and stuff that doesn't have images.
Well, your brain looks for patterns.
Yeah, and that's
brain
what it
looks
is
for a pattern and everything.
You know, like I don't dream a whole lot, and I know when I do dream, I tend to have stress dreams. And I get them. It's like, you know, your teeth fall out, your hair falls out. You know, you can't find your clothes, stuff like that.
That's the stress dreams I have.
You can't find your clothes?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have those stress dreams.
Do you ever have stress dreams where you're back in school?
Yes.
Oh, those are fucked up.
Yes.
I'm like, I graduated like 30 years ago. Why am I here?
I have those, but no, I have like where like I am somewhere. And I can't find clothes. And I'm like scrambling. I'm like hiding behind things, trying to figure out where clothes are.
Well, the funny part about it is I'll have the ones where I'll have the stress dreams where I can't find clothes, and I'm walking around in tighty whities. I haven't worn tighty whities in like 5 years. And it's like, what? What? And then what's really funny is when you kind of start realizing that you're in a dream, and you start like, and then it starts breaking apart, and then you kind of come out of it. But no, I don't really have regular dreams. I have stress dreams.
I dream a lot,
and I remember
my dreams. I remember a lot of them. There are some that I wake up and they fade. Like, I remember it really well when I first wake up, and then they fade away, and that's super common.
No, I did have a dream, I don't know, probably right before quarantine hit, or right around that time. I actually had the horror movie trope dream. I don't remember what I was dreaming before that. All of a sudden, I had a dream. I woke up, I'm in bed, and I'm like, I'm trying to get out of bed, and I can't, and then like shit's happening, and then I was like, ah! And I actually woke up for real. So I woke up in a dream.
I've never done that.
Once, and I didn't think it really happened. I thought it was just a trope that happens in horror movies. You know, like your Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was bullshit. I thought it was something like that. It happened to me once. Nowadays. And I get it's because of the move and stuff. I wake up and I don't realize where I'm at.
Yeah. Kind of panic a little bit.
And I'll panic. But mind you, I was still having that. We lived in Troy for 3 years, and I would have those in Troy. Where I'd wake up and like, you're trying to figure out where I was, especially when you guys had left. And I was still in Troy and you were in Piqua. I was packing.
That's funny because that happened to me here a couple of times because I was in a new place. And
I woke up and you weren't there, and Vince wasn't there. And that's why, I moved up here, because it was supposed to be that, I was going to stay there until we guys got the house completely moved out, and then I was going to come up here. And then you were like, no, you need to come up here. I did, this is getting weird. And I'm like, all right. So I came up here. But no, I woke up, especially once I got like a lot of the stuff out of our bedroom. And the only thing that was in our bedroom was essentially a box of clothes that I had on a chair, and my bed, and like of course the bedclothes. I didn't even have it wasn't up on a thing. It was just a mattress on the floor. There was only like curtains on the wall. There was the one closet thing that was in there and shit like that. But everything was empty. And I'd wake up and be like, and because it had changed. It hadn't changed a whole lot, but it had changed enough that I woke up and I'd be in a panic, like, where the hell am I? What's going on? And then I would, okay, I'm home. Okay, and it wasn't that I was dreaming going into it. I would just wake up in a panic because I didn't know where I was. What was really bad was the when I had gotten rid of everything in the front room. So the only thing that was in the front room was my TV and a TV tray and my weight bench seat, because that's what I was sitting on, because I folded up and I would sit on my weight bench set and watch TV. And I was sitting there one night and I fell asleep on the weight bench table, and I woke up and like just nothing was right, because literally like I said, the front room was empty, the dining room was empty. There was nobody there but me. The boys weren't there. The boys were here. The dog was there and the cat was there. So, but yeah, it's weird when your brain does to you, especially when you panic or whatever. So,
well, when you're not used to your surroundings.
Yeah. I bet it's going to be a year or two before I stop having to trying to figure out where I'm at here. Especially if the boys leave out and we move upstairs, then I'll wake up and like, where the fuck am I? Oh, yeah, I'm home. So
that's the thing.
It is. But like I said, this is another thing. It comes down to what we see and what we observe and what our brain tells us we saw and what our brain tells. Like me and Joe have the theory that everybody goes, well, every time you see a bear or Bigfoot, it's probably a bear. As a Bigfoot's a bear up on his hind legs. But it's like, but what about the people who think they see a bear and are actually seeing a Bigfoot? Because their brain sees a bear, but they're seeing a Bigfoot.
Well, the thing about it is, you want to go with that argument, you do the same thing with ghosts.
You don't see a ghost, it's not a ghost, whatever, but you're actually seeing what you think is a ghost, but it's actually a ghost, because you're actually...
See?
The UFOs. I seen lights in the sky. I see lights in the sky all the time.
Yeah, there was actually about a month or two ago, there was like a lot of sightings.
Oh, UFOs?
Yeah, like pretty ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
But we also live not that far from military bases, and
we're 30 minutes away from.
That's what I'm saying. There's that. But you're more apt to believe in UFOs and cryptids.
Okay, we're going to do the scale again here.
Uh-huh.
All right, up here, the top. That's your UFOs. That is a definite, this really happens. These things exist in the real world.
I actually agree with that. I do not think we are alone in the universe.
Then you go down here and you got cryptids. Because there are animals, we're finding animals all the time that we didn't know existed.
There are things that we haven't discovered yet.
I don't believe in all the cryptids because people, because people are like, oh, you believe in Bigfoot? I believe in Bigfoot. I don't believe in Loch Ness Monster. I believe Loch Ness Monsters is a big ass sturgeon. There's not enough food there. And then you get down here and you start getting into like your psychic powers, your quote unquote superpowers, your telepathy, your telekinesis, stuff like that.
Which you're on the fence with. Yeah,
because I think the human brain has, and I don't believe people have like pyrokinesis. I don't believe I can create fire with my mind or whatever. But I think that you can kind of maybe have telepathy, especially like twins, because that's a lot of the same DNA and it's the same genetic makeup. I think there might be something there. I don't know.
I see that with the girls.
Yeah, and then you get down to here, and then it start getting into the ghost. But
my friend has twin daughters, so that's who I'm referring to.
Yeah. And then you get just slightly above that's when you get like the residual hauntings, where you get like the energy from people, because people.
Yeah, because he believes in that residual hauntings are a possibility.
Well, because
But-
a person has a lot of electrical impulses going through them, and I think if somebody dies and that electrical impulse goes, and it kind of freezes in that spot, it's not. It's just. It's essentially a film stuck in a loop.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It can't interact with you. It can't. It's not an actual knowing.
Okay, but that would even explain when my mom was living at the old house, and my dad, when he was alive, had a really bad habit of turning the heat all the way up. So would that be a possibility of a residual haunting? Is physically the heat being turned up? Because he would walk in and he would turn the heat up, and it got to the point where I went over there and I was like, why is there a piece of tape on the thermostat? And she couldn't figure out why the thermostat kept going up.
See, no, I don't know, because I think that it's...
It stopped after a while. Like, it didn't keep doing it.
No, I guess. I mean, because as the energy dissipates, it kind of just goes away. You know, it's like the dying, the pulsing just gets slower and slower.
Yeah.
And so it just... It goes back to the universe. But do I think that there is spookum ghosts that are like, oh, like interacting with human beings and stuff like? No.
See, I do.
I don't think
that's
that,
where we disagree.
Yeah, I don't think that
I believe that there's more to the human spirit
but I
than
also,
what we.
I believe when you're dead, you're dead. But that's just me.
And I don't.
I
just think there's more to it that we don't understand yet.
I think it's death as the ultimate, like, I can relax now. I'm done. I don't have to stress over anything. I don't have to work hard for anything. I'm done. These people go, well, don't you want your final reward? I'm like, yeah, the end when I'm done. I don't have to do shit anymore.
I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in heaven or hell. I don't believe there's this big reward. I believe that what's important is now, our life, what we do in our life, the legacy we leave. I think all of those things are important. I don't think we are working towards this big reward in the sky. But I believe there's a possibility of reincarnation. I think that there's more to that we don't understand. And I'm going to say that a lot of things that I believe in, it's not saying that I think that's 100%. I think there's the possibility of it. I think that there is a lot in this world that we don't understand. I think there's a lot about how our bodies work and how our spirit works and how our soul works. And, it might not, the electrical impulses that you talk about, that's the same thing I'm talking about, but I'm just putting a word to it. Yeah. I don't think I think that energy sticks around. I don't think it just dissipates and goes away.
See, for me, I am, like I said, I don't believe in afterlife. I believe when we're dead, we're dead. Somebody asked me one time, do I believe in something bigger than myself? I'm like, yeah, I have kids. There's something bigger than me. I believe in genetic memory because, I believe, we carry on through our children. And eventually...
I definitely think genetic memory do you think that counts for some of the deja vu we have?
I think that is. I think it is. I think that...
Because there are places that I've been that I've never been before that are very familiar.
Yeah. Because, you are made of the same genetic material. You're made of your mom and your dad. And...
when we went to New Orleans, I talked about that, how I think there's somebody in my family that lived there because I felt very connected to.
Yeah, and you kind of walked directly to things, like French Quarter, it's here, boom, right here where everything is.
Yeah, fairly quickly.
Really, you were like, that.
And I have a terrible sense of direction, so that's... That's saying something. Yeah. But I felt very connected to that place.
But,
on that note, if you ever get a chance to go to New Orleans after this is all said and done, if you've ever wanted to go there. It's fantastic and amazing, and you should just definitely go for the experience.
Oh, it's a blast.
Even him,
who
hates to be away from home.
I despise being away from home. I like going away. I love going to conventions, but I like going home just as much as going to the convention. I am a homebody. I spend all my money. I pay for a nice place to live. I pay for nice things in my house. I want to be at my house. But no, New Orleans is kind of awesome. I mean, great food. Just I don't drink. I stone cold sober.
Well, we didn't go there to party.
Yeah, I don't party.
We're not about that.
I just found out the other day. I was like, I've been sober for 5.5 years.
Yep.
So and people are like, oh, you go down there. I'm like, no, go down there. Yes, you can go to the French Quarter. People go, oh, there's all. I'm like,
There's more to do than just drink.
Holy
There's
crap.
much more to do.
Go to Spirits on Bourbon. You
Great
had the
food.
gumbo. I had the blackened spicy chicken sandwich. We had what was the bacon wrapped cheese balls.
Something like that, yeah. those
Oh
are
my
good.
god, that is horrible for you, but
excellent bar
so
food.
delicious.
But even when we first got there, we went to City Park, which is just... You should go there first because it doesn't look real.
It doesn't, yeah, because you go down there and you see all the movies with like the Spanish moss growing off of everything, and you're like, no, that's legit how things
Yeah,
are.
that's what it
Spanish
looks like.
moss is growing on everything, and I don't even know how it grows on everything. It's literally going on signs and like lampposts and shit like that.
But it's so pretty.
Oh, it's neat. Well,
Like, everything is so pretty.
what's hilarious is the park guy walking around telling people like, he goes, be careful, because people are feeding ducks and people are like feeding the turtles and stuff like that. They're like, this is pretty maintained, but we still are in Louisiana. There's a possibility for gators, and people are like, oh, they're still playing right next to the water. Little kids, everything, It's really cool. That was cool. Like I said, good food. You literally one of the cool things to do was we walked over. You got the big sandwich, the muffaletta.
Oh, the muffaletta, yes.
And I can't remember what I got, but we were sitting on the park bench, on the levee, just watching the big steamships coming in, the paddle boats, and it was just all this stuff going on. You're just chilling, and you're watching the world go by, and you're eating. Yeah. And it's neat. And we went on the cemetery tour, the haunted, because you go on a little bit of a haunted tour that goes into the cemetery. They show you where they filmed like Interview with a Vampire. They show you where they filmed parts of American Horror Story Coven, and you see all this cool stuff going on down there. Don't get me wrong. They'll gouge you on stuff, but they also sell stuff stupid cheap too, because
But you can legitimately
cheap
go
stuff.
for much cheaper than what they put out there because you can shop around.
And don't go during like the big. Don't go for Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is I don't know. It's got to be overrated.
I guess if you're gonna go there to have that.
If you want to go to have
then
the Mardi Gras
fine.
experience, go to have the Mardi Gras experience. If you just want to go to New Orleans, go to New Orleans. Have fun. Jeez. New Orleans Cemetery tour.
Cemetery number 1. That's the one that you got to go to.
Yeah.
That's what we went to.
That's the one where we got to see where Nick Cage will be buried one day. His big pyramid-shaped tomb in the middle of New Orleans Cemetery. And the fun part about it is, though, you got to watch it because you can't film in the cemetery because Easy Rider screwed that up. And they'll tell you that.
So if you go to like TripAdvisor and look up the St. Louis Cemetery number 1 tours, it's a walking tour. It's like a $20 it's the $10 one. That is the best one to go on. The tour guide is fantastic. He starts in the French Quarter. He walks you through the French Quarter, talks about the architecture of the buildings, talks about where things were filmed, and then he gives you a history of everything.
Oh yeah, and he
talks about the cemetery. He talks about why the graves are the way they are.
Well, you also go, hey, this house is haunted. This house is haunted. This was the,
Yeah, I mean, he's very informative and super nice guy, and I mean, it was a cheap tour, but it was. I mean, I would have paid more for it.
Literally, it was the last thing we did in New Orleans before. We walked from there to our car and drove out of New Orleans. You just got to make sure you don't go during hurricane season.
Yeah.
It'll be underwater. It was kind of nice. We were there in the week after Mardi Gras?
Yeah,
2 weeks after Mardi Gras?
No, the week after.
Week after Mardi Gras?
Literally the week after.
Yeah.
Everything was cheap because they had just had Mardi Gras and they didn't have to worry about making money. So that is actually, if you want a week where things are going to be lower cost, that's a great week to go because they don't care as much. They've already got their money in for that season because they've done everything Mardi Gras. There are still, if you're in the French Quarter, it doesn't matter what night it is. It's during the week. There's still people doing stuff. There's still dancing, singing, bands playing.
Yeah.
Bars open. That still happens.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
And it doesn't stop.
You don't have to be in the huge crowds to have fun there. You can just go and have fun.
Oh, and you gotta watch it. One thing you will want to do is keep your money out of your back pockets. Keep your purses. Go ahead and splurge and get those wallets that you can tuck down inside.
Because there are pickpockets.
There are pickpockets everywhere.
Actually, just do your research. We did it before we left. There's the con. Don't talk to somebody that tells you they bet you know where you got your shoes. Because the answer is on your feet, and they will harass you. So don't fall for those cons. But do the research before you go because you can actually research what stuff goes on there and what to prepare for, which is what I did. Which thankfully, because we actually were approached, and had somebody try to do that con, and were able to walk away.
Yep. So, but it's a blast, and keeping with the Halloween thing, which is now kind of officially over.
Officially,
it's November. It's 12/24 and November 1st. We're
Yeah, but we're gonna get an hour back.
Yeah, there's a lot of haunted history down there. There's a lot of just spooky buildings. There's a lot of creepiness in there. There's a lot of literally there are women on the street who will just pull over a box and some milk crates and do tarot readings right there on the street.
A lot of street performers.
Lots of street performers. A lot of the people who paint themselves silver and then
yeah. But there's a lot of kids. There's the drummers. There's
there's
really cool.
Whole bands down there.
Throw them a tip. That's somebody's
don't
actually performing for you. Throw them a tip.
Yeah, don't let them see you're throwing money. Just try to keep a couple ones in your front pocket or whatever. Yeah. Try to keep loose change, a couple ones in your pocket so people don't see you reaching in wallets and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think this might be the end of our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
And we're going to... I don't know if we're going to give you the other one. We might, because it has some more information, some other doofy shit on there.
Yeah, we can edit it.
We'll give you a freebie episode, even though all of our episodes are free. But we
will throw something in there.
But as always, we love for you to get in contact with us. Try, leave us comments, contact us on Facebook, whatever. If you have story ideas or if you want to ask us questions, feel free. Go to Group Therapy TV, Facebook. I post stuff. I post episodes all the time.
Give us topics.
Give us topics. Yeah.
Give us ideas.
I'm
things you want us to talk about.
I'm going to have some more interviews coming up here soon. I'm hopefully going to figure out how to do a Zoom interview tomorrow on here because I got a guy who wants to do one tomorrow afternoon. We'll see how that goes. If not, I might get it started and then finish it some other time when we can figure out what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But as always, like and share, hit the subscribe button. Remember, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast,
there's your
Audrey.
List.
We're on YouTube. We're on Podbean. Be a patron. We're
through Podbean.
Through Podbean. Every little bit helps. Helps us buy stuff. We're gonna edit. I'm gonna do some more cartoon reviews, more 80s stuff, and I got some more DVDs I've gotten in. I've gotten some more books I'm reading up on. So every little bit helps. We're gonna start offering extra stuff. We were gonna do that before, but we had some audio issues with that episode. So once we get back to regular and we can have now we got the audio figured out. Maybe. We're going to offer, special bonuses for when we do interviews. Now we got the camera and stuff. I might start going out and taking us to conventions and doing stuff then and there, so we can do some stuff, and we might be doing some stuff there. I actually thought about setting it up and doing the just the actual old school podcast recordings where I was dealing with the phone with some of the people at the shop here and there, and doing those as freebies, not as freebies, but as bonuses. So, yeah.
All right.
So, all right, and we want to say goodnight and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
And y'all take care and have a good night. Bye.